After buying all the necessary materials, Woon Sowol immediately returned to his residence to start refining something. After a long period of hard work, he finally succeeded in creating what he needed. Tunhi, who was working, saw him coming out of the room and immediately greeted him excitedly. "It's been 2 months, have you finished your work?" Woon Sowol smiled at him. "Is that there? Thanks to someone who followed my instructions well, I was able to finish it early without any hindrance. By the way, my sister, nothing happened recently, right?" Tunhi smiled. "Is that beautiful sister? If you say yes then yes, if you say no then also no." Woon Sowol reluctantly scolded, "That kid who talks like an adult, right? But if there are no big things, maybe 1 to 2 small things will happen, right?" Tunhi nodded. "That's right, there are a lot of people hanging around here checking to see if the beautiful sister is a doctor. There is an old man with an unpleasant face who always causes trouble. He asked a mortal like her why she came to the tea shop that the healers often came to, and then asked to drag her out of the shop. She then turned into a green ball in the middle of his palm. Seeing that, he was startled and scared and ran away." Woon Sowol secretly breathed in his heart. It seemed like they didn't recognize his sister's ability because of her eyes. He asked again, "What happened next? Is there anything else?" Tunhi continued to explain, "Yes, her beautiful sister didn't often leave the room, but after that incident she started to use a black veil to cover her face and go out. But such a veil is not a good choice, because in the past there was a guest who wore a veil to the tea shop. Not only could he not hide his identity, but on the contrary, it also attracted everyone's attention." Woon Sowol nodded in agreement. "What you said is right. Next time she comes downstairs, remember to remind her. I have one more thing to ask. Have you heard the news of Faceless? Did the killer kill anyone else?" Hearing that, Tunhi immediately looked carefully and ran to the right. Then he leaned into Woon Sowol's ear and whispered, "Recently more people have died, and there are still 5 people. That's too much. Many people died and everyone blamed the Faceless murderer, to the point that some people even said he was a murderer. All the dead people were monks of the 3rd generation or higher, but I heard that there were also witch doctors among them." Track NKY. Woon Sowol stroked slowly, 5 people within 2 months, just like Shia Bing said. Tunhi continued to say, "That's just leaked information. Maybe it could be there's more to it than that. After all, people have said it a lot. It won't be long before the monks at the Taoist temple will begin to hunt him down." Woon Sowol's face wrinkled. "What if the monks, the priest of the Taoist temple, killed him and took his capsule? Then I won't be able to get the Udambara flower. Looks like I have to quickly punish him before it's too late." Very soon, at nightfall, after 2 months, Woon Sowol once again disguised himself as Wang Tae-il and went out. He was soon met and chased by a faceless murderer. Woon Sowol ran and sighed, every day for a whole watch. Now, after 10 consecutive days like this, there's no need to practice anymore. Chasing me so savagely. Woon Sowol ran away for a while, then stopped to take out his magic weapon. Faceless killer saw that, then he stopped walking and kept his distance from him. He looked at the pile of magic weapons around Woon Sowol's body and was amazed. 3 swords of bending? It's really interesting, I've never seen it before. He smiled and said to Woon Sowol, "Sword and shield inside are fine. I just hope that in the past time you haven't been going around the market wasting spirit stones in vain." Woon Sowol asked slowly, "What you want is the magic weapon and spirit stone that I have?" Faceless murderer laughed, "Isn't this a natural thing? You already know what kind of person I am, but you still don't understand how I operate." Woon Sowol cold, "It's been more than 2 months since that happened. I didn't expect that you not only didn't forget about it, but actually chased me to the end." Faceless murderer took out a magic weapon, shouted loudly, "Stop wasting useless words and die." Woon Sowol's heart was full of doubts. Magic weapon? Isn't what he used a magic weapon? He stole capsules from so many people, so he probably has a lot of spirit stones. Buying a few magical weapons is probably not a big problem for him. Those pair of wheels are not weapons. His main weapon, could it be his own hidden weapon? In any case, a warrior like me who is just at the middle level of the An period, wants to be careful when facing the middle level of the An period. When Song Lun hits Woon Sowol, he immediately uses the clone technique to block it. Next, he used his swordplay to counterattack. But his long sword was unable to break the faceless murderer's protective spiritual light screen. Song Luan flew back and defeated the clones. Of Woon Sowol suddenly turned back. He had no other choice but to turn around and raise his shield to catch him. Faceless Killer snorted coldly. I know you have a cultivation base that is around the level of the early heroic stage. Even so, it won't change anything. Until now, I've only launched an attack at the advanced stage. Suddenly his eyes widened again. Seeing Woon Sowol's strange move, he immediately mobilized his spiritual energy to mobilize his twin wheels. Then he attacked straight towards the opponent again. Attack again. This is much stronger than before. Woon Sowol once again used his clone to rush in but was defeated by the double wheel. His body took out a gourd. Faceless Murderer laughed loudly. I want to take it, your life is just a matter of the blink of an eye. It's a pity that even if you try everything but can't reach me, it will be useless. Seeing Woon Sowol about to approach you, the Faceless Murderer immediately retreated. Next, he immediately used two wheels to strike down from above and hit Woon Sowol's body. Fortunately, Woon Sowol had summoned a light screen to protect his spiritual energy in advance, so he was only dropped to the ground, otherwise it would have been a disaster. The last move had cut him into two pieces. The gourd in his hand also fell out and rolled towards the Faceless Murderer. He bent down to pick up the gourd in disbelief. It looked stupid. So dumb? If you were a little faster, you would be able to use it, but under this warrior, ability is everything. Blame yourself for the mistake that caused you to lose your life by your own weapon. Young man proudly, he opened the gourd to take a look, but as soon as he opened it, countless poisonous smoke immediately flew out and shot onto his face. His pitiful screams immediately rang out. Woon Sowol slowly stood up and smiled coldly. That's the poison. You've wasted your time worrying. I didn't waste the spirit stone in vain. Carefully hide your tracks and take pleasure in killing people. That strange hobby of yours really makes me want to kill the person that. Faceless Murderer tried to tell. The location of the treasure that I hid. I will tell you the location, as long as you spare my life, I will tell you the location. Woon Sowol summoned the long sword. My master once warned that even if the thief really promised to deliver the treasure to you, even if he died, he would die. I definitely don't believe it. I don't know if you have a secret treasure or not, but if I tell you to spare your life, then I won't be able to spare even a hair. The Faceless Murderer has been dealt with, Woon Sowol exclaimed in admiration. The demon poison is really strong. It's still quite good, but it can't be used against others anymore. You have to quickly check the loot. After a while his face immediately wrinkled, like was this really all his stuff? There aren't many spiritual stones, and other than this pair of double-wheeled magic weapons, there are only high-level magic tools and lower, which is too little compared to the bad reputation he has caused. Does he really have his own hidden treasure? At this moment, he noticed a bright red pearl on the ground. A pearl? Let's try injecting spiritual energy inside. As soon as the spiritual energy was activated, his eyes widened. What? It has already absorbed all the spiritual energy. This gem actually has the ability to swallow spiritual energy. Looking at my spiritual energy still being continuously sucked into the gem, Woon Sowol is even more surprised. Its ability to swallow, just how strong is it? This gem seems to be very magical, but for the time being I still don't know its uses. Logically speaking, after absorbing a certain amount of spiritual energy, there should be a reaction. Could it be? Is it because the amount of spiritual energy I injected is not enough? Thinking so, he immediately took out a high-grade spirit stone and placed it on top of the gem. Is it because of this gem that the Faceless Murderer killed and robbed people? What if he didn't hide the treasure and put it all here? After a while, the surrounding gems were filled with high-level spirit stones. Woon Sowol could now confirm that his ability to absorb spiritual energy was indeed unusual. And indeed his spirit stones were all here. Just how powerful is this gem? Woon Sowol refused to give up and continued to take out the spirit stone. I must clarify this matter. This time I will use 4 super spirit stones to try. After a while, the gem still remained. There was no movement. Woon Sowol sat there helplessly inside, after using up all the loot and putting half of his spirit stone in it, but this gem still didn't react at all. Nothing. Bao Nok put it aside for now. Quickly go back to refining medicinal pills for senior sister first. Tai Hong Dan will definitely be of great benefit to senior sister's practice. Un Sowol later then he returned to his residence to start refining the pill. He quickly made a Tai Hong pill. As soon as he refined the medicine, he immediately went to Mok Yom's room. It had been delayed for too long before, but now senior sister's injury could finally be treated. Is senior sister Mok in the room? Seeing that there was no response from inside, Un Sowol's heart began to rise in doubt. Is sister not inside? Could it be that she's gone out? Her body hasn't fully recovered yet. It's better to go out and take a walk than to stay in the room. This hall is a bustling world. Sister, come out. It's good to go for a relaxing walk outside, not to mention, sister has never been out of the Iron Protector sect since she was little, so she probably just goes out for random walks and nothing will happen. Just went down. He was immediately surprised. Why were there so many people today? Seeing Un Sowol coming down, the second child immediately came to say hello. Sir, you came down? Un Sowol asked him. Haven't seen him in a month. That's right. Why are there so many guests here today? Tunhi quickly took the tea and left. I'm really sorry, sir. I'm very busy today. Wait until I finish work and then answer you. I'll arrange a seat for you first. How about it? Un Sowol had no choice but to reluctantly nod. Okay, then I'll bother you. Un Sowol was then arranged to sit at the same table with the other wizards. Un Sowol just sat down the first guy provocating next to him. He shouted loudly, "Damn! Why are there so many people like ants today? There are already a lot of Fuang Din guilds, they probably want to join the rift." Un Sowol secretly felt cold in his heart but ignored him and didn't even look at him. It seems they are all late-stage Fuang Thin Tai. The big guy in front of me laughed. So what, 30 years ago our strength was really not good. It was not easy to get back with our lives, but today it is different, after spending a period of time cultivating. Through hard work, our strength has increased. Now we are all masters, before and now are completely different. The old man next to us smiled. We are still very far from the word master. Relying on our strength to enter the rift should not be a problem, but the central lake is probably impossible to enter. It is said that inside there are many wonderful treasures hidden, old monsters with similar cultivation levels. KY also stared like a hungry tiger. How could it be our turn? The head angrily banged the table and shouted, so my idea is to collect a large amount of spiritual herbs in the rift, and after the day I become a warrior, if things go well, maybe 30 to 60 years later. Then we can come. The company nodded in agreement. Yes, we can definitely do it at that time. After the three brothers are sworn in, we must enter the heroic period and we must be very cool. Sigh. The old man shook his head and sighed. Stop daydreaming, the competition at the rift is very fierce. We must prepare carefully in advance. Un Sowol sit down and drink while having tea. I silently pondered, is the rift? Is this the same place as the Pill Spirit Palace? It seems like the guild hall will hold regular activities there. Why did they suddenly stop talking? Very quickly Un Sowol knew why the crowd suddenly became silent, because Mok Yom had returned. Even though she was wearing a veil, she still made the crowd fall in love. Un Sowol saw her return and immediately stood up to say hello. Mok Yom turned to look at him and smiled. Is it the junior brother? We haven't seen each other for a long time, right? Un Sowol nodded. That's right. Let's go into the room to talk. As soon as he entered the room, Un Sowol asked suspiciously, why did you cut your hair? Is there something unexpected? Mok Yom smiled at him. Isn't it beautiful? Un Sowol nodded. It's very beautiful, it's just that you wear a veil and cut your hair short, that will attract more attention. Mok Yom crossed his arms in front of his chest and questioned, right? I really like my current hairstyle. My hair was too long before and it was a bit of a problem, so I cut it short. Un Sowol waved his hand. Oh no, short hair is also very beautiful, I like it. Mok Yom smiled. I know that junior brother is an easygoing person and doesn't like to make things difficult for others. At that time, I was very miserable, but after cutting my hair, I felt much better. I couldn't just give up on myself. I had to cheer up. Try your best to improve your cultivation. There will definitely be a day when you will return to Yangzhou. Un Sowol secretly sighed. Sister's mouth was relaxed, but in her heart she still felt like she wanted to avenge her father. He put his hand into his chest to search for something, but before practicing, he had to take care of his health first. Mok Yom looked at the medicinal pill in his hand, full of doubt. "Junior brother, what is this?" "So?" Woon Sowol explained, "This is the medicine I specially made for you. It is very beneficial for recovering internal injuries." Mok Yom swallowed the medicine and smiled. "Thank you, I owe you every time. Your feelings are really embarrassing." But not long after swallowing the pill, Mok Yom immediately showed signs of drug overdose. Her body kept shaking and sweating like rain in an extremely painful appearance. Suffering. Woon Sowol was frightened. Sister had been regulating her spiritual energy for a while. Why was her breathing becoming so short of breath? Could it be that the medicine is not used properly? At this time, if I put spiritual energy into her body, it could cause her to go into a demon. What should I do? Mok Yom writhed in pain for a moment, then spat out a mouthful of blood. Only then did her body slowly stabilize. After a moment she asked Woon Sowol, "What kind of medicine did my brother give me to take?" Woon Sowol took out a handkerchief and gave it to her to wipe the blood from her mouth. It was Tai Hong Dan. Mok Yom's face was full of doubt. Tai Hong Dan? This is the first time I've heard of this type of medicinal pill. Woon Sowol thought to himself, it's normal, after all. It's a secret medicinal pill that the great master passed on to him. He remembered what he said at that time. Li Hu had said, using spirit herbs that were easy to find to create medicinal pills, but had very good healing effects. Recalling his words, he couldn't help but sigh. Was this the master's standard? Or not? Thinking for a moment, he then explained to Mok Yom, the refining method was learned by me by accident. Mok Yom suddenly woke up. No wonder I haven't seen you go out for the past few months. It turned out it was for refining pills. Medicine for me, it really makes you waste your time. To refine this medicine, you must use a lot of rare spirit herbs, right? Woon Sowol patted his chest and smiled. My sister saved my life in the forest of fine beauty. Of course I have to repay this kindness. Mok Yom sighed. I'm humble again. She took out a storage bag and gave it to him. Here, you take it. Woon Sowol saw this and immediately waved his hands repeatedly. Sister, don't be like that. Mok Yom explained. When you buy spiritual herbs, it also cost a lot of spirit stones. This little bit from me is probably not enough to pay you back. But you should take it first. If you don't accept it, I will feel very uneasy in my heart. Please accept it. Woon Sowol has no other choice but to accept it. That's okay. But I advise you to take this spirit stone to buy magical weapons to protect yourself. Let's talk about the spirit stones later. I think right now, senior sister is lacking a suitable magic weapon. Mok Yom's face is full of helplessness and confusion. Woon Sowol continues to explain, senior sister, don't forget the overall cultivation level of the Daewon Nation healer. Higher than the Jeon Young Nation. If you don't have a magic weapon, with your strength you can also become a master in the Daewon Nation. But that doesn't mean you don't need a magic weapon. Mok Yom clawed his fingers and thought. Well, what you say makes sense. I heard that a thing called the Rift is forming outside the guild hall, where you can collect rare spirit stones and spirit herbs. Wait until I collect enough spirit stones. Give it back to me. Woon Sowol looked at her in surprise. It seemed like senior sister also wanted to go to the Rift. I had only vaguely heard about it. What exactly was that Rift? Mok Yom quickly said everything he had heard. I heard that every 30 years there will be a big wind at the festival hall. As long as we find a place with the strongest wind, we can enter the entrance to the heterodimensional space. That entrance is called the Rift. Woon Sowol claws in contemplation, where the wind blows strongly. Mok Yom continues to explain, in the Rift there are many rare spiritual herbs. In addition there are many demonic beasts living. Every 30 years the guild will attract many wizards from all over to the Rift to search for treasure. Woon Sowol exclaimed, really interesting. This reminds me of the concentrated spirit land. What organization is managing the Rift? Mok Yom replied, I heard there is no manager, that's why those magicians are competing to enter the Rift. Unlike the concentrated spirit land, entering the Rift is still much easier. Woon Sowol looked serious. If sister wants to go, I will go with her. There is supervision from the temple, so nothing major will happen. But inside the Rift, which is not under control, it will definitely be different. Facing a lot of danger. Mok Yom went to push the window open. That's right. I'm also worried about this. I saw a lot of heroic-looking wizards in the hall. They're not easy to deal with. No worries, now it's great. If junior brother can come with me, I'll feel secure. Un Sowol, after talking to Mak Yom, immediately went to the market, before the rift opened. I still have some time, I have to take the time to deal with urgent matters at hand first. First is this B Shin sect. As soon as Un Sowol arrived, he was immediately taken straight to Shia Bing. She smiled at him, welcoming him again. Un Sowol quickly walked over and sat down in front of her. Only then did he notice the woman next to Shia Bing. Seeing Un Sowol's attitude, Shia Bing immediately introduced himself to the lady. The lady next to me is Baek Ran. She was sent here by the general to be an apprentice. I hope you don't mind. As soon as Un Sowol made contact with her eyes, he was startled. This person seemed like he had met her before. Where are you? Could it be that we were destined to meet before? At this moment, Zon Bing technique was urged again. Un Sowol immediately regained consciousness and calmed down. Baek Ran on the opposite side suddenly painfully spat out a mouthful of her blood. Next, he knelt down and kept trembling in extreme pain. Un Sowol also glanced at her with extremely cold eyes at this time. Baek Ran glanced at him with extreme fear in his heart. It was unbelievable. Okay, I've been practicing all my life to love my hometown, but I've failed. Un Sowol showed a worried look towards her and asked, "What's wrong with your body? Are you not feeling well? Why did you suddenly vomit blood? You say so on the outside, but in your heart you secretly guess, is it bewitchment magic?" Luckily I used the ice zon technique, otherwise it would have been a big problem. The woman's body was trembling and it was a bit difficult to move. After being injured, she couldn't concentrate her spiritual energy. If she wanted to recover, it would be difficult. I had to practice for a while longer. Shia Bing, who was next to me, shouted angrily, "Dare to attack my guests? This is truly unforgivable. Young master, this lady has offended you. Let me use her life to compensate you." Baek Ran saw her using her magic to kill her and was terrified. Seeing that Baek Ran was about to be killed, right? At this time, Un Sowol loudly stopped. He had just shouted the magic spell in front of Baek Ran and immediately stopped. In his heart he silently snorted coldly. It was so absurd. He knew it as soon as he saw it. Baek Ran was ordered by someone else. He questioned Shia Bing. "The reason has not been clearly investigated. There is no point in killing her now. She has already vomited blood. Why do you still want to kill her?" "Me?" Shia Bing's face darkened and he thought to himself, if he found out that he had used seduction magic, it would be very awkward at that time. He was planning on killing someone to get rid of it, but he didn't expect things to turn out like this. Pondered for a moment, then she shouted at Baek Ran, "Go away." Baek Ran did not dare to hesitate and immediately got up and went out. Before leaving, she did not forget to turn her head and glance at him. Un Sowol quickly left in the room with only two people left, Un Sowol and Shia Bing. After a while she told Un Sowol, "Faceless murderer suddenly disappeared." Un Sowol pretended to be scared. Surprised, "Is that so?" Shia Bing continued to ask, "Did the faceless murderer leave the guild hall and go somewhere else? Or was he killed by someone else and thrown into the deep forest as bait for monsters?" Un Sowol shook his head furiously. "How could I know? He's a thief whose whereabouts are unknown. Even the doctor at the temple can't catch him." Shia Bing used his spiritual energy to create a mask. "You're right, so I'm very curious whether he left the guild or was killed by someone else. Before, sir, did you ask questions like whether someone helped faceless murderer take revenge? So it makes me even more curious." Un Sowol laughed coldly. "I also lost a lot of money at your place. As far as I know, B Shin sect not only sells intelligence but also receives intelligence anymore, right?" Shia Bing laughed loudly. It seems that the young master has looked down on his B Shin sect. In fact, faceless murderer's intelligence is very cheap. At first I was lazy to show up. Then out of curiosity, I wanted to see his demeanor. My husband just appeared at the guild hall, that's why I made a deal with you." Un Sowol was angry. Having said that, should I thank her instead? The lady took out a book, but now the situation is different. If faceless murderer was really killed by you, then you are my honored guest. If you agree to sell it, faceless murderer's intelligence, as a thank you I can help you solve a problem. How about this transaction? Un Sowol silently pondered in her heart, if I admit it, then she will definitely sell this information as a commodity. I don't like this a bit. Shia Bing saw Un Sowol sitting thoughtfully. Then he continued, it seemed he was still hesitant. I will keep the secret of who killed faceless murderer. I only sold the news that he was dead. Woon Sowol nodded. Okay, faceless murderer is really dead. The body was buried on the hill above the agricultural land north of the guild hall. Shia Bing quickly noted, your dignity is also very good, yet you still buried him so carefully. Now you can ask for the intelligence you want. Woon Sowol secretly thought in his heart, this woman is really difficult to probe. Even though she makes me feel very uneasy, she probably won't break her promise. After thinking for a moment, he said, my intelligence, the woman who wanted to go to Yeonam Kingdom. Heard that and her eyes immediately widened in excitement. You're not kidding me, are you? If you're serious, I'm really sorry. I don't understand much about Yeonam Kingdom. I consider myself knowledgeable, but I've never actually heard of Yeonam Kingdom, and there's no mention of Yeonam Kingdom in the book. This country. Woon Sowol sighed sadly, even such a powerful intelligence organization does not know. This matter is really difficult to solve. Shia Bing replied helplessly, it seems it's not like you're joking. I'll send someone to the headquarters to listen about Yeonam Kingdom. I hope you'll give me a little more time. Woon Sowol silently lamented, it seemed like he had hurt himself. The deputy head of this intelligence organization is respected. He waved his hand repeatedly, as far as I know, to get there, you have to rely on a teleportation array. You probably have never heard of such a remote place, I don't know. It's just a normal thing. After a while, seeing Shia Bing's appearance was not right. Woon Sowol couldn't help but feel tense. Could it be that she was already angry? After a long while, Shia Bing spoke up again. In the past few days, there will be many monks coming to the temple. Dare to ask, do you also want to go to the rift? Woon Sowol is not hiding anything. Is it true that B Shin sect's alchemist also wants to go? Shia Bing put the book back in the box. We are just an intelligence trading organization. We will not directly send people to the rift, it's just that. Her teacher stopped talking here. Sowol immediately asked, is there anything you want to tell me regarding the rift? Shia Bing smiled, because for the time being I can't provide information about Yeonam Kingdom to you, so I want to use another piece of information to compensate you. After a while Woon Sowol left. As soon as he left B Shin sect. As soon as he got out, he turned to the people outside and asked, I want to come get some air, can you let me stay here for a while? The other person respectfully replied, you can stay here temporarily but not for long. Otherwise, please forgive me for being rude. Woon Sowol then sat down on the stairs and contemplated Shia Bing's words. It's not that it doesn't make sense, but… Suddenly he saw Baek Ren hiding behind a tree peeking at him. Seeing him looking at her, he bowed his head and bowed. Woon Sowol nodded and smiled. He was about to speak up to start a conversation but she turned around and ran away in fear. Woon Sowol didn't pay much attention and sighed and stood up. After all, this is a strange place. It's hard to explain. All that's left now is to prepare well before entering the rift and how to use that gem. Woon Sowol then went to the secret auction, which what he took out to sell this time is the anti-aging pill. Everyone, this is the non-aging pill. Although it can't make people younger, it has the effect of preserving one's appearance. I have to take this pill very seriously. It takes a lot of hard work to make it. There's only this one. The starting price is a super spirit stone. Only use spirit stones to trade. Soon there was a woman below shouting medicinal pills. Hey, if it's really real, then I'll spend all my fortune to buy it, but you have to make sure it's real. Another person also spoke up, you're right, I want it too. Buying money is not a problem. The most important thing is that the old man Dan appeared too suddenly. I have some doubts about its authenticity. Behind Woon Sowol very quickly an old man came, with as the auction organizer, we need to conduct an appraisal. Woon Sowol asked doubtfully, will the auction still be conducted during the appraisal period? He looked at him holding the medicinal pill and was worried. Surely he wouldn't run away with it, right? Next, countless other items were also put up for auction. After a while the old man returned holding Woon Sowol's box of medicinal pills. Making everyone wait for a long time. This immortal pill is the real thing. As soon as he finished speaking, the whole arena immediately shook. The sound of bidding wars continued to ring out. 15 super-grade spirit stones. I bid for 24 super-grade spirit stones. Mister, here's the bid for 40 super spirit stones. Un Sowol was also surprised by this situation. He didn't expect that there would be so many people wanting to buy such old pills. The auction was still extremely fierce. Suddenly, the price quickly reached 70 super-grade spirit stones. At this time, another middle-aged man offered a great grade spirit stone. A perfect grade spirit stone is equivalent to 100 super-grade spirit stones. But the price didn't stop there. Just as the middle-aged man bid for a perfect spiritual stone, the person next to him immediately bid for 2, and then another woman bid for 2 excellent spiritual stones along with it. According to 70 super-grade spirit stones. Another rich man offered 5 excellent quality spirit stones. When Un Sowol heard this number, he was indescribably horrified. The 5 master-grade spirit stones were more than the amount of spirit stones he had accumulated in his entire life. I had to use the remaining immortal pills. Good for the right value. Immediately after the auction is over, Un Sowol real pills. Returning to his residence, he took out the precious jade. He looked at the pearl, holding his head in thought, raising the excellent spirit stone to feed it. Was this the right thing to do? Is this gem because faceless murderer wanted to take revenge and let it fall into his hands? What if I burn all my assets on it and get nothing back? Just in case, I should try other spirit stones first to see if it reacts or not. After a moment, Un Sowol screamed again, "Oh my god, what kind of monster is this?" After having hollowed out so many spirit stones and still not making any movement, this is a ferocious creature. Has scooped up so many spirit stones and still not moving, what exactly are you trying to show? After using all the super spirit stones, he took out 5 excellent grade spirit stones. 5 excellent grade spirit stones can change the fate of an ordinary wizard. And use them to feed this thing. It's too risky, but I've invested so much, I really don't want to give up at all. I really want to play with it to the end. If I let others know about this, they will definitely think I'm crazy. After all, this is also a top quality spirit stone. I wonder if any miracles can happen? Huh? Last time I touched it, I felt a little warm, but now I feel a little hot. Could it be that it has started to change? Un Sowol didn't think any more and immediately picked up a masterpiece spirit stone and placed it on the jade, begging you, this is the last masterpiece spirit stone. This time there was finally a reaction. After absorbing the last spirit stone, the gem automatically flew up. Then quickly melted to reveal. Inside was a golden-colored medicinal pill. Un Sowol picked up the pill observing the medicine. From the remnants, it seems a bit similar to a medicinal pill. But now it is still impossible to determine the use of this thing. The precious jade turned into a medicinal pill. This is really strange. Suddenly he remembered something and quickly opened the capsule on his waist. Wanwan immediately crawled out from inside. Un Sowol looked at it and thought, Wanwan's sense of smell is extremely sharp. Let Wanwan try to smell it. He quickly brought the medicine closer to Wanwan's nose. As soon as it smelled the medicine, its eyes lit up with excitement and rushed over to eat it. Un Sowol was always alert. As soon as it moved, it immediately withdrew. Pill, Wanwan. Do you know how many spirit stones it took to get this pill? If you dare to eat it, I will deal with you. You dare pay attention to this medicinal pill. Be careful, I will cook you super spicy cat soup. Wanwan immediately thought of himself lying in the fur hot pot. He stood up extremely scared. Then he didn't dare to ask for the medicine anymore but obediently sat down. As soon as he sat down he noticed the pieces of jade that had broken on the ground. Un Sowol saw that he was interested in that and was filled with doubts. Do you want to taste these scraps? Okay, then just taste it. After a while, Wanwan finished eating the crumbs, then excitedly sat on the spot licking his feet. Un Sowol observed its performance and silently thought, it's good to eat. It's better. It seems that other than feeling better, there is no change at all. He took out that medicinal pill again to see, what exactly is this medicinal pill? At this moment, Wanwan behind him suddenly went crazy. He kept screaming and jumping everywhere, looking extremely painful. Un Sowol observed its state in surprise. Is Wanwan human? So? It seemed like its body was out of control. Wanwan's eyes immediately turned red. Then he screamed extremely fiercely at Un Sowol. After a while Wanwan regained consciousness. His body at this time, it had undergone a huge change and became more mature. Sowol saw this and was secretly scared. Could this be the legendary medicinal pill? Something that even the great master only heard rumors about but could not refine. Thinking for a moment, he sighed, what problem am I wondering about? I should still eat it and talk about it later. If Wanwan has already eaten it and nothing happened, then I'm sure it won't be a problem if I eat it. After thinking about it, Sowol immediately picked up the medicinal pill and put it in his mouth to eat. I don't know how long Sowol's eyes were filled with nothing but black. His mind was full of confusion. Why was something a bit sticky? Why am I lying here? Could it be the effect of the medicinal pill? What is this sticky and soft feeling? He slowly opened his eyes. What he saw was Wanwan lying next to him, constantly licking his face. He pushed it away and sat up and saw Mok Yom sitting not far away. Saw him when she woke up. She breathed out, is your brother awake? Sowol smiled helplessly. It seems like I've caused trouble for you again. Mok Yom quickly explained, when you were cultivating, you suddenly discovered an unusual aura emitted. Coming out of my room, I immediately ran to see what was going on. When I got there, I saw that the aura seemed to be changing for the better, so I didn't do anything. There are many healers coming here. I was afraid that someone would come and bother me, so I kept watch here. What was the result? Sowol touched his body and replied, thank you sister, for now I don't know what the outcome will be. My body feeling hasn't changed at all. Just wait a little longer and see. He secretly thought in his heart, when using it, it felt very difficult to swallow, like swallowing a metal ball, but after swallowing, he felt a certain stream of spiritual energy directed into the inner pill. After that it was gone. What else can I remember? I thought it could increase my spiritual energy or increase my practice level, but somewhere I still felt some change in my body. Around Sowol's body, suddenly a curtain of light appeared, covering Mok Yom, and he was startled. What's wrong, brother? Is there something unusual about your body? Sowol shook his head. No, it's okay. His heart suddenly awakened. I finally knew, this is a needle pill. I heard that although a needle pill doesn't have the effect of increasing spiritual energy, it can helping Nay Dan evolve. Can make spiritual energy become purer. Each time using spiritual energy can reduce the amount consumed by half. Initially relying on ice mysterious magic to be able to cast evil destruction. Swordsmanship can also control many magic weapons at the same time. The effect is really good, but the spiritual energy is too much, completely unsuitable for long battles. Now the amount of spiritual energy is too much. The force has been reduced by half. This is truly amazing. It makes me so excited. If sister wasn't here, I would definitely have jumped up and down to celebrate with you. See Sowol just stood there smiling and Mok Yom immediately asked with interest. Looking at your expression, I immediately knew this was a funny thing, right? Sowol scratched his head and smiled. There is truly nothing that can be hidden from senior sister. Mok Yom smiled. You have always been dedicated to cultivating and now you have made a big breakthrough. This is all thanks to you. On my non-stop practice, Sowol challenged her, thanking my sister for her praise. Looking at my sister's body, she must have almost recovered. Just in time. I also want to try the results of cultivating. Practice, let's try a match, senior sister. Mok Yom smiled and glanced at him. It seems like this time the result you received is very big, right? Really congratulations, I won't show you any mercy so you have to prepare carefully. Sowol smiled, I can't even ask anymore. A few days later the festival outside the temple has started. There was a whirlwind. Sowol was walking on the road in amazement. The wind was so strong, it looked like the rift was about to open. Using the needle and also accompanying his sister, this time there will definitely be no problem. Just in your mind you remember the conversation with Shia Bing that day. Before you left, she told you a very important news. To compensate me, we'll provide you with this information. The rift only opens once every 30 years. According to the information we have, every 300 years, extremely rare treasures can be found from the center of the lake. This time it's exactly 300 years. Sowol asked suspiciously, it's true that it's a bit interesting, but why did you tell me such important intelligence? Shia Bing smiled and explained, although the treasure was very attractive, we were not the clan's disciples to participate. We mainly encouraged other wizards to go in and search for the treasure for us. Objects, the group will base on the value of the treasures that the wizards find to give them spirit stones. as a corresponding reward for the wizards to recruit. Woon Sowol woke up. It turned out that is that so? Shia Bing continued, you killed faceless murderer, proving that you are an outstanding strategist, absolutely not an ordinary person. Because of a certain event that happened 300 years ago, our family is not the only one with intelligence, so by then the competition to find treasures will be extremely fierce. We really hope to recruit experts like you, thereby increasing our odds of winning treasures. Woon Sowol's face wrinkled. Do you mean you want me to sell my life instead of B Shin sect? Shia Bing explained, you are too serious. We are just allies while searching for treasure. Just remind you, no matter how outstanding your strength is, if you are alone, it's very difficult to fight for treasures alone. So why not join forces with us? That way you can get more spirit stones. Woon Sowol silently thought, what I said seems to make sense, but right now I still can't believe her. I'm afraid that by then I'll be abandoned by her like Beck ran. After thinking for a moment, he waved his hand and shook his head. Your proposal is great, but I still want to refuse. I have one last request. If you have intelligence about the internal affairs inside the rift, then I want to buy it. Shia Bing shook his head. The competition inside the rift is very fierce, so we only provide intelligence about the rift's internal affairs to trusted people. If you agree to cooperate with us, then I can unconditionally grant you internal intelligence from the rift. You have 3 days to think. Come back and think carefully until then let me know your answer. Remember, this conversation in Woon Sowol's heart couldn't help but feel a twinge of regret. Even though he said he could consider it, he still felt unhappy. He didn't have much information, so he felt a little regretful. After the two of them flew for a while, Mok Yom immediately headed towards him. Exclaimed first, my brother quickly looked over there. Not far away in front of them, a giant crack appeared. This was the rift. Outside at this time there were also many magicians gathered. Oh, everyone is very excited to go inside. Woon Sowol is also extremely excited. It looks like the fun is about to start. Now I can only rely on my sister and me. Woon Sowol assured me, old man, don't worry, the rift is open now. You can go out. The old man sat down on the ground holding his head. No, absolutely can't go out. Woon Sowol advice, you can't stay here all your life eating moss to live. Can you tell me your name and your relatives? I will think of a way to contact them for you after leaving the rift. The old man calmly replied, I am Yi Chungso from the Yi family in Yan'an. Woon Sowol nodded. Yan'an is not far from here, surely I can find your Yi family. The old man continued to scream without paying attention. Absolutely can't go out. Absolutely can't go out. Woon Sowol's heart is full of doubts. Should we just insist not to go out? He couldn't help but ask, why can't he go out? What are the causes? The old man's eyes widened, because I was targeted by the devil. Woon Sowol asked again, did you say the devil was hidden in the stone mirror? The old man nodded. Woon Sowol secretly sighed in his heart. Even though he had drunk the jade lo chin tam pill, it didn't seem to be much better. He was still crazy. Thoughts after a while, he again reassured him. The old man was still very healthy, but he had just been here for too long. Waiting for the wound to heal and then treating it a bit would not be a problem. Old man. The head shouted excitedly again, I'm being followed by the devil. If I go out the devil will also follow. The devil is following. I'm being followed by the devil. Woon Sowol felt there was no way to persuade him, so he sighed. It seems like there's really no way to convince him. I can't keep wasting time here like that. Suddenly the old man raised his head and looked at him, reaching into his chest to explore something. When Woon Sowol saw that, he was frightened and immediately jumped back. Could it be that he wanted to attack me? But as soon as he stepped back, he was startled again. The old man had no intention of attacking him. He took out a jade token and gave it to him. Thanks to him he remembered who he was. You may think I'm crazy, but right now I'm very sane because the devil is following me, because of my family, because of my relatives, so I absolutely cannot leave here. Woon Sowol naive. The people on the spot didn't know what to say for a moment. The old man came over and put the jade token in your hand. Take this jade token and give it to my family. Tell them about my situation, be sure to hand it over. For them, thanks to you, and if you find a stone mirror in the lake, absolutely do not open it. Woon Sowol nodded and put the jade pendant in his chest. Okay, my old man has remembered. Facing Woon Sowol's suspicious eyes, he once again put his hand into his chest to explore. Very quickly, he took out his storage bag and gave it to him, asking him to take it. Woon Sowol kept waving. Hand, no, I can't take your things. The old man put the storage bag in his hand and sighed. I can't go out for the rest of my life and keeping these things is useless. I'm done talking, turned around and went inside. Before Woon Sowol's surprised eyes, a fire quickly appeared in the cave. After a moment Woon Sowol went out of the cave. He looked at the cave and exclaimed, the old man died so heroically, his body was on fire. I brought his ashes back. When the time came, I handed them over to his clan. The magical tools and medicinal pills in the bag were all broken. After all, only this bracelet remains intact. What is the use of the bracelet? Anyway, let's leave this place first. It's only been a week since I entered the rift. The spirit herbs and spirit stones are another day. The urgent task now is to quickly find the center of the lake. The situation here is too harsh. Danger is everywhere. I can't let my sister wait here for too long. Woon Sowol then just like that, a sword slashed deep inside the rift. Using the sword continuously without stopping, he finally entered the central area. As soon as he entered, sweat poured down his face like rain. Unexpectedly, the central area was hot. So, it took me 5 days and 5 nights to fly continuously to get here. The territory here is quite wide. The main problem is that the shore of the lake is this big. How should I find my sister? I made an appointment with my senior sister to meet at the lakeside and then consider the situation to proceed. Now that I think about it, it seems that the initial appointment was really naive. Who would have thought that this lake would be as big as it is? Is that so? Sighing for a moment, he glanced at Wanwan on his shoulder. Hey kid, do you still remember the smell of your senior sister? Wanwan, who was eating spirit fruit, looked at him with confusion when he heard that. Woon Sowol explained, it was the beautiful sister who exuded that fragrance, do you remember? After listening, Wanwan nodded repeatedly. Next, he looked left and right without smelling. After a while, not smelling anything, he became sad and sad. Woon Sowol smiled reassuringly. This lake is too big, it would be a bit difficult to find senior sister right away, or should we go around the lake to search first? Next, he sat on the flying sword again and flew around the lake with Wanwan. The more he flew, the more surprised he became. This place was as vast as the ocean. What treasures were hidden in the lake that attracted countless people? Doctors are fighting like that, aren't they? If there is no danger in the lake, I really want to go down there with my sister to search. While flying, suddenly Wanwan sitting in his arms became excited again. He kept pointing at a forest near the lake. Woon Sowol quickly controlled the flying sword in the direction it was pointing, as if he could feel the aura of the heroic warrior. Does this kid mean his senior sister is there? As soon as he approached the edge of Wanwan forest, he jumped out from Woon Sowol's chest and rushed down. Woon Sowol then remembered in his heart, that's right, sister has a special ability, she can hide it. So I can't feel her breath, now I can only rely on Wanwan's sense of smell. After a while Woon Sowol saw Mok Yom and found it. Of course here. Wait, isn't that the windmill carriage of the Mountain Willow Manor? I have a bad feeling so I had to quickly go over there and take a look. Woon Sowol quickly landed in the direction of the crowd. Mok Yom saw him coming and immediately turned around to say hello. I'm here, junior brother. Woon Sowol is he? In response, he turned his head towards the middle-aged person next to the carriage and looked at. The middle-aged man sensed the aura on his body and said contemptuously, one is about the same age as a master and one is middle-aged? Woon Sowol ignored him and walked over, grabbed Mok Yom's hand and pulled him away. What are you doing here, sister? If nothing happens, let's go quickly. Mok Yom was startled and nodded, okay. But before they could take a few steps, they were stopped by that big guy. Woon Sowol's face was gloomy. Asked in a cold voice, what do you want to do? His thoughts quickly turned around. This person showed no signs of wanting to attack, just wanted to stop us from leaving here. Could it be that he was waiting for the master in the carriage to give orders? Looking at his appearance like a loyal servant, he only listens to his master's orders. Thinking for a moment, he clasped his hands towards the carriage, asking for forgiveness, wondering how I could help. For you? If the noble person on the carriage needs us to do anything, please just say it directly. The carriage door was immediately opened. Inside came out a woman. "I am Wee Pei Ok of the Mountain Willow Manor." Un Sowol nodded, paid his respects to Senior Wee. "This one is Un Sowol who just arrived in Yueyang City not long ago. Couldn't see you earlier, I hope you'll forgive me." He was secretly thinking in his heart. He couldn't feel his breath. Her cultivation level must be at least a positive light period. Mok Yom beside him also clasped his hands in greeting. "I'm the one. Mok Yom is very pleased to meet you." Wee Pei Ok laughed coldly. "Ha ha, and I'm even more pleased. Where did the cruelty from just now go? I don't have time to waste on you guys. You guys are wandering around here. You probably want to dive into the lake, right?" Un Sowol hurriedly explained. "Senior, listen to me, actually before you finished speaking, Wee Pei Ok spoke up, with your strength, after entering the lake not to mention finding treasure, I would be grateful to heaven and earth to be able to return alive. Right now, the experts in Yueyang City are almost all gathered here, so you guys who come with me will have a lot of benefits." Un Sowol thought helplessly, "It's so selfish. If I refuse, I probably won't respect her, she probably won't let me leave here." After thinking for a moment, he accepted it. Spoke up, "Being able to accompany our seniors is a great honor for us. It's just that we came here determined to at least get one treasure. If we go with our seniors, we won't have a chance to get the treasure, so please forgive me, Senior." Wee Pei Ok frowned. "What kind of person do you think I am? Do you think I'm a greedy and cruel person? After the work is completed, I will automatically divide the treasures among you. You can rest assured about this, but one thing must be made clear in advance. Noe Wang and I have the priority to choose the treasures. No matter how many treasures you get, you will only get one share." Un Sowol silently thought in his head, "I have no interest in the treasures in the lake at all, but if I cooperate with the magician Yang Guangqi, can really reduce the danger, increase the rate of safe retreat. But we don't know each other at all. I don't know if this Wee Pei Ok is trustworthy. She wants us to join the guild. At least we can guarantee that she won't harm us before getting the treasure. The problem is what to do after getting the treasure and getting out of the water." Mok Yom saw Un Sowol keep stroking and thinking for a long time. Then he spoke lovingly. "Junior brother apologized. It was all your fault." Un Sowol reluctantly shook his head and smiled. "It's okay, senior sister," he whispered in his heart. Sigh, senior sister's ability combined with the poison eliminating demon. At that time I wonder if it will be successful? Wee Pei Ok on the opposite side suddenly called out his spiritual energy. "Are you thinking about calculating the pros and cons here? I tell you that you have no choice. If you don't cooperate with us, you too only have one way to die." Un Sowol's face sank. It seems like he really didn't get a choice. The people glanced at each other, exchanged glances, then all clasped hands. "Okay, we agreed to cooperate. Just hope that the seniors keep their word." Wee Pei Ok turned around and snorted coldly. "Wouldn't it be better to say it earlier? I wasted a lot of saliva. Let's go now. Come follow me." The group then quickly dived down to the bottom of the lake. Un Sowol just following the carriage. He thought to himself, he really wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to escape, but if he did so, he would definitely bring disaster upon himself. That's right, that carriage was very strange. Relying only on the power of the wind, it was possible. Creating a protective layer around the outside was really powerful. It seemed like the carriage was rushing down as if on purpose. Could it be that they knew the specific location of the treasure in the lake? Seeing the middle-aged driver keep staring at the object in his hand, Un Sowol exclaimed in surprise. He seemed to be examining something. "Is this a compass? I don't know what principle this compass works on, but I think it is something that can find the location of treasures. If that's true, then it's truly not an ordinary object. I thought that in the lake I would be able to witness the strength of Wee Pei Ok and Noe Wang, but I didn't expect that even the warrior who dared to challenge me did not have." The Mound's windmill carriage. Tai Willow Manor in Yueyang City is indeed very famous. It seems that for the time being, we have not met an equally talented opponent. If that is the case, then why does Wee Pei Ok need to drag the two of us to join him? Maybe she is a magician recruited by Shia Bing of B Shin sect. Move for a while. Un Sowol took out a few medicinal pills and swallowed them. Continuously use the spiritual energy in the water, having already consumed a lot of spiritual energy. How much longer do they want to dive? Suddenly it accelerated again. There was so much black smoke around that I couldn't see anything. Why did it suddenly accelerate and dive down? After diving for a while, the two of Woon Sowol both opened their mouths in surprise. In front of them, a palace suddenly appeared. The carriage driver looked at the palace in front of him and said, "The direction needle points in this direction, it should be here." Woon Sowol's heart suddenly awakened. It turns out that the so-called treasure is actually a direction guide. This palace exudes a lot of spiritual energy, isn't it? Is it used to find places with high aura? All around, if it weren't for the iron, it would definitely not be easy to find this palace. Could it be that this is the place where the treasure they say is hidden? Wee Pei Ok quickly came out from inside the carriage. Well done, Noe Wang. The group then immediately entered the palace area together. Noe Wang went first. Exclaimed in surprise, it seemed that the inside of the palace was very dry. Wee Pei Ok laughed loudly. It's good that there is no need to open the spiritual barrier. After entering inside, please check each room to look for treasures for me. The group of people did exactly as she said. As soon as they entered, they split up into 6 groups to search for treasures. After a moment, Noe Wang came out carrying a mirror, and I found a wooden mirror. It's just that there's absolutely nothing inside. Wee Pei Ok was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Damn, it was stolen by someone else. She bluntly threw the wooden mirror to the ground and stomped on it with her foot. Destroy it. Quickly check all the remaining rooms, maybe you can find other treasures. The group then continued to search. Woon Sowol sighed in his heart, thinking that when they reach the later stage of the An period, they can conquer the 4 seas, but unexpectedly they still cannot control their own actions. We must quickly find a way to escape from King Y's magic palm as quickly as possible. Her windmill carriage is also very obstructive. Escaping is a bit difficult. I don't know her strength. No, knowing the weak point is not easy to attack. Moreover, if some treasure appeared in this floor, while he was lost in thought, Wee Pei Ok came and shouted loudly, searching carefully. Give me. After a while, a pile of wooden mirrors was found by Woon Sowol's group. But everything inside was empty, not even a belt. Wee Pei Ok was so angry that his whole body was shaking. Shaky, the architecture in the lake may be more than just that. Moreover, this is a treasure that has only been seen for 300 years. No one knows the specific situation of the treasure. Quickly take out the spirit needle and take a look. Want to rob it? In someone else's hands, a new building had to be found. Noe Wang did not say much and immediately followed suit, reaching into his chest and taking out a compass. Soon the group discovered another palace. As soon as I entered Woon Sowol, countless thoughts appeared in my mind. This floor is even smaller than last time, there is nothing to compare it with, but this does not mean that there are no treasures here. Wee Pei Ok is already starting to worry, we have to be more careful. After finding the treasure, maybe she will give us many choices or deal with us decisively. To swallow all the treasures. There was no conflict with any wizards on this whole road. She probably thought we were no longer useful, so she wanted to eliminate us, that's right. That's it. Suddenly Noe Wang went inside again. The crowd saw this unusual action of his and were all surprised. Woon Sowol secretly thought in his heart, what did he want to do? So? I've searched more than 10 rooms but still can't find anything. Moreover, this whole floor is full of spiritual energy. What's the use of just looking inside with a spiritual needle? Wee Pei Ok exclaimed with his claws, in a place filled with spiritual energy like this, only the spiritual needle still reacting is a bit strange. Noe Wang went first to lead the way. The group followed, then quickly followed Noe Wang inside. Soon they came to a room, went inside but didn't see anything. Woon Sowol's heart immediately became suspicious, this was the last room. But there was nothing. Suddenly the compass in Noe Wang's hand turned around wildly. After a while he sat down in front of the floor and exclaimed, it's here. Wee Pei Ok immediately ordered, opened the floor for me, there might be a tunnel underneath. Noe Wang didn't say much, stood up and pulled out a whip. Then swung a whipping move. Strong on the floor. Woon Sowol observed everything and couldn't help but glanced at Wee Pei Ok appreciatively. It seemed that this Wee Pei Ok was a healer with rich experience. At a glance, he could see the method, the direction of the spiritual needle and its intention. After opening the tunnel under the floor, all the people called out the protective spiritual energy light screen to stand there observing. After a moment Noe Wang then asked Wee Pei okay, can we go in? Wee Pei okay shook her head, don't be in a hurry for now. Next, she directed the two of Woon Sowol, you two go down first. Woon Sowol had no opinion and immediately went forward, okay, but we don't need two people, one person is fine, let me go down first and take a look. Wee Pei okay smiled coldly, it depends on the person. Woon Sowol then rushed down. He silently pondered, there are many architectural relics here, perhaps in the past there was a palace or building in the lake. It seems that only the architecture here is unaffected. In front of him was a luxurious palace with an extremely holy golden light emanating from it. After a moment, the three of Mok Yom also followed in. Wee Pei okay looking at the architecture in front of her, she exclaimed in surprise, it was hard to believe. This must be the place where treasures that had only been seen for 300 years were buried. She could not contain her excitement, ignoring everyone else, he took the lead and rushed towards the palace. Woon Sowol looked at her back and silently analyzed, she was using her aura to sense the presence of the surrounding healers. Around, even if there were opponents lurking around, it didn't seem to be able to stop her eagerness to hunt for treasure. The few people then didn't hesitate anymore and quickly followed Wee Pei okay. Flew along. After flying for a while Woon Sowol felt a little doubtful in his heart, could the structure in front of him be the main hall? At this moment, there were countless attacks coming towards them in front of them. Wee Pei ok's face shouted again, boldly. Then he mobilized the spiritual light curtain to block it. But surprisingly, even though she was very confident, she still had the same trick. It was obvious that she had eliminated everything, but she didn't expect that there was still an attack behind her. An attack of this intensity could have been the brat. That? Thinking for a moment, she took out her magic weapon and attacked in reverse, clear fire of earth fire appeared. The opponent's attack was immediately destroyed by her earth fire, not stopping there. Still madly rushing towards the other person. But it only flew for a moment before being stopped by that person's magic spell. An old man leading a group of magicians quickly appeared in front of him. Woon Sowol group, he smiled towards Wee Pei okay. Haha Mrs. Wee please don't be angry. Wee Pei ok's face wrinkled, it was indeed Mr. Pyong Elder, in her heart she silently snorted coldly, a small romantic who brags that he is a doctor of Duong Quang Ky. The old man continued to smile at her, I heard that the lady has accepted Noe Wang as a free-spirited little fresh meat. Since when did you accept two new people? Can I introduce the old man a bit? Wee Pei okay laughed coldly, if you continue to slander me with those words, be careful I will tear that dirty mouth of yours to shreds. Those two are the new people I came from. Leading page, it's like 5 henchmen standing behind you. When the group of people behind the old man heard that, everyone's face wrinkled. The old man laughed loudly again, haha it's not wrong to say that, in fact, only Mrs. Wee and I here have the ability to find these treasures. Wee Pei ok's mind was full of doubts, why does this old man have to stay here? Wait here for me? Shouldn't he take the opportunity to enter politics and lick the treasure first? He didn't look like he was particularly waiting for an opportunity to eliminate his competitors. The attacks just now clearly didn't have any killing intent at all, just exploratory attacks. That's it. Woon Sowol looked at the two opposing factions in front of him and silently thought. The two of them kept talking about the treasure and were at odds. If this continued, there would be many warriors of equal caliber. There's no problem anymore. After a while, the old man sighed and exclaimed, the treasure hasn't appeared yet, we don't need to grin like that. I guess there are a lot of treasures this time. Hidden in many buildings, if we divide each person in half equally, both sides can bring back full things. Wee Pei okay coldly snorted in his heart, tricking a child. What a greedy guy will a despicable person like you agree to divide it equally with me? I didn't want to believe it. After thinking for a moment, she replied, I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. You didn't come into the main hall and instead you're here dragging me. What do you want to do? Question mark. The old man immediately explained, because all buildings are surrounded by an extremely strong protective wall, and no matter how hard we try, my juniors and I cannot successfully destroy them. Abandon it. Even though I believe in Mrs. Y's strength, I'm afraid you can only stand by and watch. Wee Pei okay snorted coldly, waved her hand and launched a few attacks towards the screen. The morning attack came. Seeing that her attack did not cause any trouble to the light curtain, she immediately breathed a sigh of relief. It seems you did not lie to me. The old man smiled. I admired Wee madam. Why have I lied to you for so long? What I want, Madam Wee, is probably very clear. Wee Pei-ok secretly sighed. It was really unpleasant, when she saw the old immortals this time at the lake. I already had a feeling that this was not going well. I didn't expect that now I would have to cooperate with him. After thinking for a moment, she shouted harshly at him. Let's join forces to break the oppression. This protective wall is over. What's next? The old man laughed. Why are you thinking so complicatedly? There aren't just one or two buildings containing treasure here. We can split up to find the treasure. It's mutually beneficial for both sides. Wee Pei-ok nodded. Okay, then let's just destroy the defensive wall ahead and move on. The two sides joined forces and very quickly they broke the outer protective wall. The inside and the palace were extremely luxurious and splendid, and above it was carved a lifelike image of a true dragon. That old man just walked and exclaimed, there are many sculptures here. All of you open your eyes and look carefully, you must not miss any spot. A dozen of us wizards tried our best. It's difficult to create a small crack in the wall, with such strict defense. It shows that there are a lot of good things inside. Wee Pei-ok gritted his teeth and thought, we failed twice before. Once, if it weren't for those old men, I would have already flown around this place searching for a while. How could I have monopolized all the treasures? Her thoughts are also the old man's thoughts. He is also thinking about how to monopolize the treasure. She is a serious opponent that cannot be easily dealt with. Even if I reluctantly win, with my old and weak body, my treasures will definitely be lost. But let it go, after all, I'm still working for my boss, and even I don't know if I can get a treasure or not, so I'll just wait and see for now. After thinking about the pros and cons, he smiled at Wee Pei-ok. Let's search carefully. Carefully, then gather the found items in one place, classify them by quality and grade. Wee Pei-ok nodded. I agree with this proposal. If there is nothing else, then let's get started. After a while, a pile of strange treasures were piled up outside the hall. Woon Sowol looked at this pile of treasures and couldn't help but exclaim in his heart, he didn't expect to find so many things. But only half is a treasure. If we divide it equally, each of us can only get 2 or 3 dishes. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but glance at Wee Pei-ok behind him, not knowing. At that time, will he be able to receive one according to the contract? Suddenly his eyes noticed an item in the pile of treasures. That thing is a stone mirror. It turns out this is a mirror. What did Senior Yi Chungso's stone say? It can't be wrong. This is the stone mirror he talked about. It is absolutely impossible to open this thing. Soon after everyone had gathered, the old man excitedly spoke up. Everything is gathered here. Let's start examining the treasures. Without appraisal, we won't know if the treasures are right or not. Wee Pei-ok nodded and glanced at Woon Sowol. That's it. Of course, you kids should go with them for an appraisal. Woon Sowol didn't dare to have any opinions and immediately went up. Yes, senior. He was constantly thinking in his heart, even though he was still uncertain. I don't know what's inside that stone mirror, but I should still be a little careful, stay as far away from it as possible. As soon as the old man opened the first wooden mirror, he was surprised. Oh, this is not art. Hoangkuk? Woon Sowol heard that and his heart was full of surprise. Saffron star block. I think I have heard of it before. This item can strengthen magical weapons and can receive extremely large spiritual power. I heard that this item is extremely hard and extremely rare. The old man excitedly picked up the turmeric block. This treasure belongs to me. The quality mirrors have almost all confirmed it, then move on to the next one. At this time, a magician came forward holding a stone mirror. So confirm this stone mirror first. This mirror is locked. It seems like you have to inject spiritual energy to open it. You too, Wee Pei-ok. Hearing that I can't contain my excitement, is it locked? It's very likely that there's a rare treasure inside, so hurry up and open it to see. Woon Sowol saw that they were excited and wanted to open the stone mirror, which made them even more nervous. If the thing inside was locked, it wouldn't have been possible. Not a treasure, but an extremely terrifying thing. This stone mirror seems to be very evil. Up to now there is still no locked mirror. The crowd quickly opened the stone mirror. As soon as they injected spiritual energy inside, A stream of blood immediately flew out. Wow, the mirror opened. Why'd I feel a bit shocked? The light emitted from inside was so strong. It was finally opened. But very quickly their faces changed. The blood energy inside the stone mirror immediately flew out. Inside the blood energy is a demon with the appearance of a child. As soon as the crowd saw it, they immediately realized that this was the original hero. But it was the original hero. Could this be the soul of a certain magician? Extremely high cultivation level? Wee Pei nodded nervously. That's right, it was the original state. The old man shouted loudly behind him. Everyone be careful not to let it be possessed. The blood energy in his body became more and more radiating extremely intensely. After a moment it looked at the crowd and laughed extremely fiercely. Its laughter immediately made the monks below hug their heads and scream. Woon Sowol's cultivation level was higher than theirs, so he was still able to hold on for a while. It felt like his internal organs were shaking. Perhaps it was this sound that made Yi Chung so crazy. Nguyen On's purpose, maybe he wanted to be possessed. Yi Chung-so probably witnessed his teammates being possessed by it, so after escaping, he always suspected that he was possessed, and finally chose to commit suicide to end the pain. Miserable. Can I use the ice mysterious technique to stop the original brother? No matter what, I have to try. In front of me, a wizard still calmly asked the old man, what should our seniors do now? How can we destroy this hero? The old man with an extremely unsightly face thought to himself, what a shame. Normal magical weapons and magic are basically ineffective against this soul. I also have no good way to do it. Woon Sowol snorted coldly in his heart. It seems that Pyong Elder has no way to deal with the original brother. I have to take back this stone mirror first, if it could seal the original brother before, so maybe it still has some effect. Nguyen An quickly found a person who was possessed. The doctor who was possessed by it immediately stood still in place without power. After a while Nguyen An had completely controlled his body. It raised its head to the sky and shouted in contempt. It's disgusting that this magician only has a cultivation base of the An level. You useless people really don't have any. It has no effect at all, but no matter what, I should still thank you for helping me unlock that damn stone mirror. To repay this kindness, I will let you die happily, haha. Pyong Elder's face is as wrinkled as a monkey eating ginger. The original brother's cultivation base cannot be probed. The magician of the Yang Luang Chi realm simply cannot deal with it. Wee Pei in my heart silently thinking, if the possessed person is at the heroic stage, he might still be able to fight, but if he defeats it, it will continue to be possessed. It seems that for the time being, it's best not to mess with it. Just leave these treasures here like that? While the two of them were deep in thought, the Nguyen An on the opposite side was also stroking his chin and evaluating them. Of the two monks here, one was an old man and the other was a woman. That's right, it's so boring. Killing you guys would be a bit of a waste. Instead of absorbing all your spiritual energy and potential. After saying that, the body it was possessing immediately aged at extremely fast speed. Go. Wait until the body's vitality is completely exhausted, then it will come out from inside again. Wee Pei saw that and was scared. It just absorbed the entire body like that. Our physical bodies will die sooner or later. If that's the case, then we can only abandon these treasures and run away. The treasures are external objects, so we should still run quickly. If you keep the green hill, why are you afraid that you won't have firewood in the future? Both of them had the same thought and ran away together outside. Mok Yom also said to Woon Sowol at this time, Junior brother, let's run away quickly. But as soon as we reached the door of Pyong Elder, we screamed helplessly, what's going on, why can't we get out? Nguyen in the back saw his appearance and laughed even more excitedly. It was all like a joke that he had played. Woon Sowol's face also sank. It seemed that Nguyen, this guy, has already used some sealing strategy. This place has been sealed by it. If he wants to get out of here alive, there are only two ways. One is to break the seal. The other is to subdue this guy. Wee Pei has no other choice but to take out the magic weapon to actively attack the original hero to take advantage of the opportunity. The clear spirit and earth fire will probably have an effect on ghost souls. But in addition to the data, the clear spirit, the spiritual fire, was swallowed by Nguyen An with his mouth open. It had no effect. This thing is completely harmless to me, ha ha. Ah, absorbing spiritual energy is a good thing. But this little spiritual energy is really not good. Enough for me to fill my teeth. If I absorb the spiritual energy of the monk Guang Kwang Ky, I will probably be able to eat a full meal." Hearing that, Pyong Elder was startled and couldn't help but tremble down his spine. He turned around and took out a large sword and shouted, "Do you think we will obediently raise our hands to be tied?" As soon as he finished speaking, his original form turned into an afterimage and rushed towards him. As soon as the Pyong Elder's scimitar touched it, it was immediately corroded. When he saw that, his mouth opened wide, destroying the magic. "Are you saying that my elementary level is that easy?" Nguyen An laughed loudly. "Don't waste your energy in vain anymore. Keep your spiritual energy for me to use. Pyong Elder is so scared that you can only helplessly scream in despair, 'Don't come over.'" This. Un Sowol gritted his teeth and his thoughts quickly turned around. The items in Yi Chungso's storage bag turned out to be destroyed by the original brother, but how did Yi Chungso escape in the end? How could his companion trap him in the stone mirror? Other than this stone mirror in my hand, it seems like there is nothing that can counteract it. Very quickly, Pyong Elder was possessed by the original spirit. Too weak, and the things in his storage bag were only these are some elementary magic weapons. They are all useless things. I don't even look at you. Can the rest of you make me happy? At this moment,